Hi, I'm Randy Hollenbeck, and this is the Music Roundtable. Today on the show, we have Chris Watt from Heavy Melodic Rock Band Fire Follows.
What's going on, man?
Nothing's wrong. It's obvious you've been hanging on. Before you do a stupid thing, that I love you more than life itself. I need you. Take a breath, slow things down. I know how it feels in your mind right now. So much like you, I almost drowned. So desperately hopeless, I just wanted you. Something without a name, wrapping around your bones, drawing you to the flames.
I just wanted to start out by digging into some history. How did you get involved in music? You start writing and playing guitar. What age did you start doing that?
Yeah, so both my parents are musical. My mom's a great pianist and vocalist, and my dad's a drummer. So was sort of always in it from day one. Was always singing. Did a little bit of piano lessons as a kid, but I wanted to. 5-year-old boys oftentimes don't want to be sitting at the piano practicing, right? So, but it was when I was about in high school when I really started. I picked up a guitar. We had a drum set in the house, so I was playing drums and yeah, just kind of was immersed in it all the time, and eventually, found the hard rock, heavy rock stuff, fell in love with it, and it's all she wrote.
Okay. Can you tell me some of your musical influences?
Yeah, so it's gonna be like the Breaking Benjamin kind of stuff. Um, I think it was like them, Flaw, Taproot, bands like that. That I remember first hearing it and just being, I'd never heard anything like it before. It was heavy, but it was so melodic. It was so singable. The riffs were so cool. So yeah, anything out of that genre, I would say is really stuck with me.
Is this like a solo project or is this a band you put together?
So as far as the recording and the production, it's a solo project. I do all of the instrumentation and tracking and vocals here in my studio. But we have a tour coming up in March, April with Tantric and Smile Empty Soul. So for that, I've got to get a band together, and I've got one now. We're rehearsing and getting ready for it. So got a great group of players that love the music, and yeah, it's gonna be good.
Awesome. And how did you come up with the name Fire Follows?
It's crazy, man. So in addition to the music stuff, I run a logging company, land clearing logging company, and um, there was just kind of unbelievable timing. There was a fire that happened to us locally, and my crew, we were on site like literally 100 yards from where this thing started. It ended up burning 15,000 acres, and it was just insane. And then about 5 years later, I drove about 2 hours south of where I'm at here with my foreman, and we were looking at a large mitigation property for a community. And as we're driving out, we saw a little cloud of smoke, and sure enough, same thing happened. It was a little fire that burned tens of thousands of acres, and it was just crazy. And so I was telling my dad just how bizarre that is to have sort of been there, right when both of these huge wildfires took off. And he said something like, "Yeah, everywhere you go, fire follows." And I didn't think much of it at the time, but it stuck with me, and it just kind of kept resurfacing, and eventually yeah, it just was a no brainer.
Awesome. What city are you based out of?
Colorado Springs.
Okay, I wanted to dig in a couple of your songs here. The Puppeteer you released September 9th, 2022. And there's a lyric line on there I like. When they see I've cut my strings, they'll call the puppeteer.
Probably my favorite lyric I've ever written.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean it's the whole song is sort of based around just my perspective or perception of the world that we live in right now, and it's sort of this idea of kind of breaking free from the matrix and um, living life on your terms, and it's just this idea that the world we live in wants to keep us held hostage, but as that line conveys, when they see I've cut my strings, they'll call the puppeteer. And it was just a really, to me, a good way of kind of encapsulating that idea.
Standing in the heart of the devastation, looking up for evacuation. When they say I've cut my strings, they'll call the puppeteer. Shot down by a generation, tongue-tied in a twisted nation. Fill the sky with every light you have. Just get me out of here! Are you watching now? Or are you still asleep? The virus has infected everything. How do we stop it now? The roots are in so deep. I feel it in the fucking air we breathe. They cannot see through careless eyes that nobody gets out alive.
Another song you guys just released was Say Words, January 13th, 2023. And there's a line in there that stood out. It was like an actual like a growly kind of sound to it. It says, "This kind of monster you can't fight alone." And I felt like that kind of like encompasses the whole song with that, because you know, if you're like in a dark, depressive state, you should feel the need to reach out to some of your friends and ask for help when you need it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and that's a great assessment. I mean, that line does sum up the song, and that's what it's about. It's about the mental health and the suicide stuff, and it's a brutally difficult topic, I think, and I've experienced this too in my own life, but for a lot of people, you feel like you don't want to burden people around you oftentimes, and so it can be there's some reticence there, but that song kind of came out in a way where I thought it was hitting a message that I think and hope will be helpful to a lot of people.
I know this place far too well. I lived here for years, but nobody could tell. So when you say it feels like hell, so desperately hopeless, you're losing yourself. Shadow without a name, coming from catacombs, drawing into the flame. Monster you can't fight alone. Say what? Gotta quit pretending nothing's wrong. It's obvious you're barely hanging on. Before you do a stupid thing, remember that I love you more than life itself. I can't just say words. Kinda tell me what is going on. I cannot help but listen to what's wrong. Silence is the enemy. I know it's getting heavy, so we'll carry this together. Say what?
What do you have planned for the rest of this year?
So we got the tour coming up in March, April. We're going to be continuing to roll out singles basically in these like 8-week cycles. So we'll have another one that hits, I think, like literally the week before we leave. And then whatever, it'll end up being like 4 or 5 more singles that'll roll out. once the tour gets done, I'm hopeful that we'll have some other opportunities to jump on at least one or two more this year and really try to get that ball rolling in a more of a full-time way.
And did you reach out to any like festivals or anything like that?
We haven't yet. Well, I believe there actually is a festival on the, I don't know if it's on the tour or if it, like one or two of the bands is going to be playing it. We may be able to jump on um, to that particular show, but as of now, that's the only thing we've got scheduled.
Where could we get a hold of you? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter?
For sure, Instagram is the one that I'm going to be on the most. Song, Song River, who does my PR, she's on Facebook quite a bit. But if anyone wanted to get directly with me, it'd be Instagram or YouTube.
That's all the questions I have. Thanks for coming on the show today. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, that's about it. Just really appreciate you having me on, man.
I know you feel it now, that itch you can't define. Yes, that's all I